I was born into chaos, a small detail my father shared about the hospital power failing the day I arrived. It was fitting, as my life began with brutal abandonment. My young mother left when I was barely walking to start a new family, holding me without conviction. Growing up, terrified of rejection, I desperately tried to be perfect, an achiever, a top student, to prove I was worthy of being chosen. I hoped my success would force her to regret leaving. My selfless father, my rock, worked relentlessly to support me and my frantic drive to excel. Then Laura arrived in college. Brilliant and beautiful, she was the first person who allowed me to stop performing. When she chose me, when she kissed me and confirmed she was waiting, the feeling of being the chosen one finally filled the emptiness I'd carried since childhood. For years, our future was dazzling. We graduated at the top, launched successful careers, and planned a beautiful, riverside wedding. I truly believed I had broken the cycle of abandonment. 3 days before the wedding, everything shattered. I went to her hotel room, but froze when I heard her voice through the door. She was recording a message for her ex, that wild, complicated guy her family hated. I listened, paralyzed, as she confessed that he had always been the love of her life. I was just the stable, safer option she chose because he couldn't offer the life she needed. The world stopped. My mother's betrayal rushed back, confirming my worst fear. I was not enough. I wasn't the ideal love. I was the consolation prize. Overwhelmed by humiliation, I couldn't face the guests or the lie. I collapsed, sobbing to my father, who encouraged me to follow my heart. That night, I wrote letters explaining the brutal truth that I had heard her confession and left them for him to deliver. I vanished, leaving behind the inevitable chaos of a canceled wedding. I plunged into weeks of isolation and grief. Friends tried to mediate, and Laura begged to explain, claiming she was merely nostalgic. Months later, I finally faced her at a conference. I told her calmly that I didn't hate her, but I would not accept emotional scraps. My childhood was defined by being rejected. I refused to marry someone who held reservations. I needed to be chosen absolutely. We shared a final, sad hug. That moment was liberating. I stopped chasing approval. I realized that while I can't force anyone to choose me, I don't have to settle for second best. My worth isn't determined by others. I'm focusing on my career and my father, holding on to the hope that the person who loves me without hesitation will eventually arrive. Love demands transparency, and I refuse to live in the shadow of another man's memory. I'm finally free of the anxiety that I must be perfect to deserve love. If her parents knew their daughter still harbored deep, romantic feelings for the wild ex, were they complicit in pushing her towards the stable life and essentially sacrificing my happiness for their image? Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Share your thoughts about this story in the comments.